So in today's video I'm going to show you how we're doing all the preparation for the new path that we're going to be laying along the edge of this lawn. So until recently this was grass all the way up to this old concrete slab. What I did first is measured out my slabs, or in this case I'm using sets, which are like small cobble type pavers, and measured exactly how wide my path was going to be. Then measuring from one side, measured out that distance and lay a plank down. Then just using some spray paint, just sprayed on my line, and that would give me a good line to cut down. Now normally if I'm doing this or just cutting a new lawn edging or a flower bed, I normally cut it a little bit short and then go along later with a string line, nice and tight, an old handsaw or a bread knife, and just kind of cut through the grass that way and get a really nice sharp line. That way you just don't have the mess. When you're digging out, you're not kind of getting mess onto the edge of the grass which you're keeping. The patio is a bigger version of what we're doing today. I used the mini digger for that, but it's a very similar process, just on a slightly bigger scale. That takes off the turf and any topsoil, which is much softer. You want to get down to the really nice, firm, compacted, kind of untouched soil, and that's what we're down to underneath this. And then what I've done is used fabric. That's not called a geotextile membrane. Very similar to kind of a weed fabric, but it's a bit more heavy duty. And you can get like a woven type, which is what this is, and a non-woven. Now the non-woven is probably the best option, but as I had this I thought I'd use it, and any membrane is really better, as long as it's permeable, it's going to be better than not having one. And what that does is it stops parts of the sub base, which is 40mm type stone, down to dust, and it stops that from kind of being pushed down into the soil below and causing the whole thing to be uneven. It just stabilises the whole lot. So I'm going to put down about 70-80mm, so half of the depth down first, kind of rake that out roughly, then we're going to put the plate compactor over that, so that will give us kind of our first section, and then we'll top that up again. It's just important to build up in smaller layers, and then you end up with probably 150mm 6-inch worth of hardcore. You can probably get away with that 100mm or so, but I want to bring it up so it's just below the concrete here. So we've got a nice transition between the original concrete and the grass. So a little bit more to bring over with the wheelbarrow, and then we'll start doing the first pass with the plate compactor. If you're getting bulk bags delivered like these and you can't get it tipped, because you can slit the bottom of the bag, so on the crane you just get it dropped. But if you've got to get lifted over a fence like this, get one put on top of the other. I always find that's quite handy, and then you just slit the side of the bag and let gravity do most of the work, and then you've got to like dig into the bag and dig it out. The thing to be careful with is when you're kind of smoothing and raking out, if you use a rake, what tends to happen is you end up pulling all the larger rocks and leaving the dust behind, and you don't really want that. You want it to be quite an even mix of dust, smaller gravel, all the way up to the 40mm stuff. So either using kind of a spade to kind of shovel it out, or on a bigger scale you'd be using the bucket on the mini digger, but I'm just using this sort of hoe, and that way you're kind of keeping it all mixed up. Right, so we've got our plate compactor that we've hired. This is actually a small one. Last time we used a medium, but I think the small is going to be better on these small paths. And it should be plenty strong enough to get everything nice and solid. Right, ear defenders on. Okay, you can sit there.
Yeah.
we've compacted the first layer, now we're doing the second layer to get it ready for the finished height. Okay, you're going to stand in the grass so I can tip this out? Thank you. At this point it's worth working out exactly what the finish height of your paving needs to be. I want it to be just a few mil taller than the grass, so when I'm mowing the lawn I can kind of run over both to finish it nicely, otherwise it's going to be a bit of a pain to trim the edge of the lawn. I'm going to use a 50mm mortar bed, and my sets that I'm putting down here, the paving, will be set into that. So I'm going to leave about 60mm, because by the time they're set down into the mortar bed, 60mm below there, so I'm almost there pretty much now, and leave it slightly high, ready to compact down.
I did end up putting a little bit of sharp sand down to fill any of those top voids and knit it all together, and then the paving arrived the following week. So in the next video I'll make a start on laying the sandstone sets, which will be on both of the paths, and then we've got the patio to do with the limestone. So stay tuned for those videos and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you can, do it yourself.